All right, in this next section, we're going to edit the original fish symbol, this one up here, and then all instances in this document are going to be updated. There's several ways to do this, and in this section, we're going to just focus on one method. Some other ways you can do it is you can select the symbol on the artboard and go into the Edit Symbol mode. Or we can do another way where we double click on a symbol thumbnail in the panel up here to edit it. So there's lots of ways to do everything in any Adobe product. So with our selection tool, so we have our selection tool, we're going to double click any of the fish symbols on the artboard. And this warns us we're about to go and edit the symbol definition itself. Any edits to this will be applied to all instances. Are you okay with that? We're going to say yes, we are. So what happens now is we're kind of in isolation mode. You can see some things change up here at the top and everything else is grayed out, and we kind of see our center anchor point of this file right now. We're in symbol editing mode, and we also are seeing the original size. I'm just going to back out and show you that had I double clicked on this one, it would have brought me into symbol editing mode and it would have made this one bigger. It's always going to show you the original size, the original opacity, whatever, as if it were coming straight from here. So even though this was a teeny tiny fish, in this editing mode, you see the real version. I'm going to zoom in on this fish. And then we're going to take the direct selection tool and we're going to click on the light green head of the fish. So you can see we have a bounding box around the fish. In our fill over here, we're going to click on this. And instead of using the swatches, we're going to switch to the color mixer. And we're going to change the color here. We're going to hold down the Shift key and we're going to drag the cyan slider to the right a little bit. And when we hold Shift, notice that others scale too, a little bit or a lot. So they are scaling proportionately depending on what we're doing to the cyan. So pull this over a little bit, quite a bit I guess, which is fine. They're not giving us an exact number, but just see that it's changed. All right, we're going to double click away from the symbol editing to get out of symbol editing mode, or we could click on this back arrow up here. Either way, exit. There we go. And now you can see it went back to being small, and they all have a little bit of a darker fish head. So we updated the symbol instance itself. So as we just saw, we can edit a symbol update by doing what we just did, where we double clicked in and we changed something. However, we can also set our symbols to be dynamic, which means that you can change certain appearance properties of just one individual instance using your direct selection tool without editing the original. So we could make the head on this one a different color, but not change the overall symbol, and these two would not update. So in our symbols panel, we should see that our fish is selected. There's that little white line around it. If not, click to select it so that it is. Then at the bottom of this panel, we have some icons. And the one about in the middle is the symbol options. We're going to click to open that. And we have an option. It's already named fish, which is great, but we want to change it to be a dynamic symbol, not the static version. The export type, I just want to point out that it can be a movie clip or a graphic, and you don't need to worry about this at all unless you're working with animation, and then you would actually keep it as a movie clip. But for all other purposes, these are the exact same behavior, so I'm just going to leave it as a movie clip. And then from there, we are going to say, okay, now when we look at our fish up here in the symbols panel, we see something a little different. We see the plus sign down here. If you ever see that, that's just reminding you or denoting that this is a dynamic symbol. We can change just one instance. With our direct selection tool, we're going to click on the fish head of the smallest fish. And because these are dynamic now, notice it just took that one piece for us like we would expect the direct selection tool to do. Also notice up here in the Properties panel, it not only says symbol, but now it says dynamic, not static like before. We're going to click in the fill box and we're going to switch back to our swatches, and we're going to grab a bluish green color, whatever one you want. We're going to replace, and you can see how this one fish looks different from the rest. So we can click away, and this is still a symbol, but it's now slightly different than the other two. That can help give a little variety also when you're using symbols. All right, the next thing is creating a symbol. So you can create and save your own, which is really helpful. You can make symbols from objects that include paths, compound paths, and text, embedded raster images, and so on. So lots of really cool things. We are going to switch to Artboard 2 that has some symbol artwork here for us. And with our selection tool, the regular one, not the direct, we're going to click to select this flower shape. And then in our symbol panel, at the bottom, there's a plus sign and it says new symbol. So we now get our options to name it and tell it what kind and how it should behave. So we want to name this one flower. I'm going to leave it as a movie clip, but we do want it to be dynamic. That way we have lots of options. And we just say, okay, now we have a dynamic flower option ready to be used, and we can deselect it on the artboard. Another way that you can add symbols instead of clicking on it and then using the plus sign is you can select it on the artboard and then just drag it over to an empty part. You can see a blue line showing where it's going to place it. I'm just going to have the blue line right here, so it's after my flower, and then I let go. This will pop up our naming options. We're going to call this surfboard, movie clip, dynamic, and say okay. So we've now added two things as symbols. Let's go back to Artboard 1, to our t-shirt, and we're going to drag this new flower instance from the symbol panel 4 different times, and we're just going to place it around the fish kind of in this manner. I'm not sure how critical this is, how they're arranged, but this is kind of what the book looks like. There. So we have 4 different instances of the flower. We're going to resize and rotate each of the flower instances to make them look just a little different. So click on one, maybe make this one a little smaller, maybe rotate it just a smidge. That one's a little bit bigger. Maybe this one's a little bit bigger and rotated this way. Something to add some variety to them is the bottom line of what we're looking for here. So something like that. I can kind of tell that they're different sizes and different behaviors. These two look a lot alike, though I don't like that. There. All right, when you're happy with that, click away so nothing is selected, and let's save our file through this page number, which is 396. And then we'll move on to our next video.